What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick, and in today's video we're going to go over a quick explanation of what exactly happens if you end your hex stake early. So I get a bunch of questions about what happens if I have an emergency, I need to end my stake early. Can I do it? What will happen? Is there any type of penalty? We're going to go over all that today, and I'm actually going to show you how to do that. So I am on the go.hex.com website where you put in your hex stakes, and I am on the testnet, so that's why it says sample only. So I'm on the pulsechain testnet right now, so this is not mainnet, so we're just practicing, we're just seeing what's going on, and you guys can do the exact same thing. So as you can see, I have 2 stakes in right here already, started on day 1037, so about 2 days ago I put these in, and they are set to end on day 1044 and day 1402. So you can see the chart of the progress. You can see the APY from yesterday, 11% for one of them, 9% for the other. Totals 9% and 11%. And the principal, so one stake was 250, the other was 500, and the amount of T-shares 0.01 and 0.025, and then the amount of yield that has been generated already, which isn't even one whole hex yet. So what happens when you end a stake early? So when you end a stake early, you get a early end stake penalty, an emergency end staking penalty. And that penalty goes to the other stakers who kept their promise to stay staked. So think of it like a game, right? You promised to stay staked for, let's say, 365 days, a year. And halfway throughout that time, you decided, you know what, I don't want to stake anymore, or something came up and you needed to end the stake. Is that fair to the other players that you get to keep everything that you earned in the yield, or even part of your principal? No, it's not fair, because they're keeping their promise, you're not keeping the promise, and it messes up the T-share rate. It goes into a whole bunch of other things. So the only fair thing to do is to penalize you for not keeping your promise and distribute that penalty, those penalties, to the other players who did keep their promise, who are keeping their promise. So whenever somebody ends a stake early, they will incur a penalty, and that penalty is distributed among the other hex stakers. So for these examples right here, where I have 250 hex and 500 hex, I mean, it's not going to make much of a difference right now. I mean, in the future, when hex is worth $100, it might. But for right now, hex is worth 3 cents, so it really wouldn't make a big difference. But for those big whales, with the 10 million hex stakes, a million hex stakes, 500,000, those penalties begin to add up, and they trickle down to everybody else in the system. So let's go ahead and get straight into how you do that. So if you want to end your stake early, you just go all the way over here, and you would hit end stake. So when you hit end stake, this pop-up comes up and it says confirm end stake. Are you sure you want to emergency end stake? Remember that you made a commitment to stay staked. This is an advanced feature for advanced users. You should not run this unless you fully understand what it will do. So this just reiterates everything that I was just saying. You made a commitment. You should stick with that commitment. But if things happen, maybe you lose faith in the system, maybe you had an emergency where you needed some cash, some money, whatever you needed to sell, whatever the case is, it's going to give you a warning to make sure that you actually want to end the stake early. So we're going to end the 500 stake. Let me go back out so you guys can see. So I'm going to end this one, the 500 hex stake. Go ahead and end that stake, hit confirm end stake, and then we're going to go over here. You're going to pay the gas fee to end the stake, and it is going to start loading and end the stake. So once the stake ends, then it'll show up over here in the stake history, and we will see what exactly happened with that 500 hex stake. So here we go. As you guys can see, we started off with 500. We did, I believe this was a year stake that I put in. We started off with 500 right here. We yielded 0.458. And the final value was 472 hex. So we did not receive our principal back. We received minus our principal. So like roughly 28 hex less than what our principal was. And that is because of the early end stake penalty. So in order to get your principal back, you have to serve at least half the time. So if this was a year-long stake, if I stayed staked for 6 months, then I would be able to get the 500 principal back. But since I did not, and I ended it after 2 days, then it took a bigger penalty, it took a bigger piece of my principal, and you don't get any yield at all. So just keep that in mind when you're ending stakes. I don't recommend doing that. The whole mindset with Hex and investing, period, is delayed gratification. So when you put this money in, guys, just remember that you purchased something, okay? Just think of it like you bought a pair of shoes. Once you wear the shoes, are you going to go return them? No. So the money is spent. Just have that attitude, that state of mind that the money is spent. You know what I'm saying? Ignore it. It's earning interest. It's earning yield, and check in on it 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, whenever your stake ends. Don't think about it. Don't, stress over it. Look at the charts all day. This is a long game. This is a delayed gratification game. So the longer you can be in a system, the greater the return you will get. And that is what Hex is exactly designed for. But like I said, I understand some people may need to get out. And this video is just serving that purpose to show you guys how to get out, if you need it to get out. So I'll go ahead and go over it one more time. We're going to go ahead and end this stake as well. And to show you guys just one more time how to end the stake and what the penalty will be, things like that. So we have the 250 Hex is our principal. 250 over here is the principal. We're going to hit end stake. It's going to give you that same confirm end stake message. Go ahead, hit end stake. MetaMask is going to pop up. You hit confirm and pay the gas. And then in about 10 seconds, we're going to see it pop up down here, and we will see the final value. So as you can see, 250 was our principal, and then the final value was 244. So we lost about 6 Hex in that transaction from early emergency end staking our stake. So, just keep that in mind, guys. You're gonna lose some money. You're gonna lose your principal, okay? Especially if you do it way too early. Like if you're staked 15 years, if you did a 5-5-5 Quattro Cinco stake, you cannot get your principal out until 6.5 years, guys. I mean, really think about that. Maybe 7 years. You can't get the principal out for 7 years, so your money is literally locked up for 7 years. So it's best you just not even think about it. The money is spent, and yeah. So this is how you guys emergency end stake a stake in Hex. Be careful with this, choose wisely what you do, and remember the long game is the best game, and that is the game that will yield the greatest return for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed that, go ahead and smash the like button, tap the subscribe button, and go ahead and check out the other videos on my channel, and I will see you guys again tomorrow in the next video. And as always, I want to send infinite abundance to you guys now and forever, and I will see you again tomorrow. Peace.